Shikha, in part one, before we concluded, you used a very interesting word. You felt that people felt you were mature. Rather, what you did not say was that you also sometimes tend to overthink. So, based on how things have gone for you, based on what I know of you, I tend to take the route that intelligence is not always an advantage. Do you agree?
I partly agree. There's this famous interview recently from a very famous cricketer, and he says about every person's cricketing journey being different. And I would kind of want to reiterate my journey has been different, and I know that I'm going to get certain number of matches to play, which was different when you were there because the kind of backing that I had was different. But with all of that, I do have to think about not just one way to go about my cricket. I do have to think about a lot of other ways. I have to have a lot of plans in place. And it's all about having a good mentor there. I mean, I am a huge and a stout believer of the fact that sometimes you need someone there to be helping you out in situations and to narrow down your thinking. Sometimes the word that you think overthinking kind of makes you spend your energy in different things and in unwanted things. But for me, I wouldn't want to change that about myself because I have been able to channelize my energies better now, and probably it was not the same in the times that you mentioned, 2014 or 2015. So yes, intelligence is always not an advantage. I would agree.
Now, without being arrogant, which you are not, I know for a fact, and you always look to help people. Now, would you consider that your intelligence and your academic record and the fact that you are in the Air Force and you could talk on varied subjects, people felt rather intimidated because of you?
I've been told just because I'm an introvert, I don't talk as much. But then once I start talking to my friends, they actually know. So people say that looking at me, they would think that I'm very cocky. I've got a lot of attitude. But I mean, my state mates, for example, can vouch for it. They know how I'm an introvert and I take time to open up. And but I'm someone who is all for the team. Always have had squad mentality, and I've always wanted to be the best team player that's there in the team. And for me, that matters. If people think that I've got airs around me and all of that, cannot really help it. But yes, I have found difficulty in finding people at the same frequency. I've had very good conversations with you, and I've looked forward to having conversations with you when you were the coach. But then yes, it's sometimes it becomes difficult to find people who are at the same frequency.
Folks, I am saying this. If Shikha Pandey and Ashwin were to involve in a conversation about Indian cricket, they'll need at least 5 lifetimes. I assure you on that. Now let's get back to the chat. Let's get back to the chat we are having. You got back your swing in 2019, which is a very vital component in your cricket, isn't it?
Yes, in 2018, I was dropped from the T20 World Cup. People don't know actually I've made so many comebacks, and then I, for me as a person, I've realized that I'm not someone who is result oriented. It doesn't work for me. I mean, there are a lot many people who just say, "Fine, today I'm going to take 5 wicket," and they just go there and take those 5 wickets. Uh, Unfortunately for me, that doesn't work. I'm not a player who can do that. So I basically look for process in whatever I'm doing. I'm a very process oriented cricketer. And I also realized that as a bowler, you would have bowled the very best spell of your life, and you would have ended with no wickets. I have had spells like that, and there are spells where you have bowled absolute rubbish, full tosses, and you've gotten wickets off full tosses. When you were there with us, we had toured West Indies. In one of the one days, the second one day, for example, I bowled a 5 wicket, a 5 over spell, the opening spell, and probably the best spell that I've ever bowled. I was able to move the ball under light both ways. I just got 1 wicket, but I know that I bowled the best then. And you always told me that cricket and all your performances are very subjective. They cannot be objective. So you need to see the process. How did the bowler bowl? How many false shots were induced, for example, and how many times did you just miss the outside edge or the inside edge of the bat? All those those conversations just made me believe that I'm a really good bowler. Sometimes when you're not getting picked or you're sitting out, you're not a member of the playing 11, you start doubting your abilities a lot, which happens and which is very normal. But I knew that even if I've not had a good spell, a good over, or a good match, you were there and you would obviously back me because you know that I'm a good bowler. So for me to have you as a coach and everyone around at that time who were there to back me, I could just go out there and express myself with all the freedom that I had, which is not the case always.
In that phase, in 2019 until the World Cup, T20 World Cup in 2020, you were on top of your game. That must have been perhaps the best phase in your career.
Yes, I would say so. Also, because what I mentioned before, I was mature by then. I was understanding what kind of a cricketer I am. I had a uh, uh, very good process and a very good routine that I had followed. I think as a cricketer, it's very important for you to have a routine that you follow for all the matches. So I was following a routine and it was working out for me. And for me, that one thing was clarity about my role in the team, about what I wanted to do at a particular ball. I had so much clarity and my thought process was just amazing. I always write diaries, and whenever, even now when I'm bowling and things are not going my way, I actually go back and I read what I was writing in my diaries during that time, because it gives me so much clarity and also assurance about I was that good and I can get back to that, being that good again. So a lot of those things really helped me, and like I said, conversations, clarity, and being back were the reason why I did well that season.
Then came the spread of COVID and the subsequent shutdown. That would be detrimental in your case, wasn't it?
It was because I was not getting any younger. I thought I was bowling so well, and we were slated to have the ODI World Cup the very next year, 21 in New Zealand. I was looking forward to it, but for as bowling is a discipline, I would say, that you need time to get back into your rhythm and to get back into your routines. And during COVID times, we never had the amount of practice that I would want. I am someone who kind of wants to practice. Sometimes you would literally shout at me about practicing way too much. I remember before the New Zealand game, this is the 2020 World Cup. Before the New Zealand game, I wanted to bowl, and you said you're not bowling because I guess one of the sites were very Tracy ma'am had told you for me not to bowl, and I couldn't believe it that I have a match tomorrow, and it's been a ritual for me to bowl before a match, and you asked me not to bowl. And the next day against New Zealand, I probably bowled one of the best spells in my whole T20 tournament that time. And then I realized sometimes it's okay to listen to your body as a medium pacer. And that's another thing that I've realized. There have been days now when I play, even for my state side, that I don't bowl. And I just think about the feeling that I'm going to be feeling that I hold on to about bowling a good spell. So a lot of talks that I've had with you about workload management, because for me, I think it's not about the volume of bowling, but it's about keeping my fitness there as I'm getting older.
The best chances for you was England and Australia subsequently in 2021, where things were up and down when they.
It was because as an in-swinger, I was trying to bowl out swingers. I mean, I remember in England, you texted me and you were asking me, why are you trying to bowl out swingers? Just bowl your in-swingers. Also, England, the grounds that we played, I literally took time, like I said, I took time during the test match. Also, the test match wicket, I mean, I'm not complaining, but it was a used wicket. There was the first over that Juludi bowled, and the wicketkeeper collected the ball near her ankles. I'm like, gone. This is not going to be helpful. So by the time the T20s actually arrived, I'm the highest wicket taker for India in the T20s, and I had gotten back into my rhythm. But then the way things are, it's professional cricket. I understand it's cutthroat competition. And even though I was bowling so well in the nets, I didn't really get a look in the Australia during the test match and the ODIs.
But the remarkable delivery that he bowled in Australia was an outswinger, an in-swinger rather, not an outswinger. Was it Alisa Healy, the victim?
Yes, people just talk about that one delivery, but you also, I spoke to you about it. The whole spell that I bowled, the first 3 overs that I bowled, again, were probably the best that I had bowled in a while. And like I said, I was bowling the same in the nets. So I understand cricket is a brutal sport. It's a huge leveler. It can be the best sport that you play, and the very next day you are the worst. So I we were supposed to play the ping ball test at the Waka, and I'm really happy that it didn't happen at the Waka, because then I wouldn't have stopped crying. It and just I just wanted to go there and express myself. I thought I had nothing to lose in the T20 ICDs that I played. And Australia being Australia, I had so much bounce, and even the slower balls were carrying so really well. So it was just about expressing myself and not really thinking about the future or the past.
The WPL finally happened. What did it mean to you personally and in the overall scheme of things?
I would say WPL has, firstly, it was long due for us, for the women cricketers from India to be playing WPL, not just the international, domestic. The time that I was not there in the India setup, I literally played domestic cricket, and because most of the time I would be out touring with the international, with the India side, I wouldn't really get to spend a lot of time with my state teammates. And I see how much they toil throughout the year just for those 8 to 10 games of domestic cricket. So I was really happy and gutted for them when I got to know that it is happening. And like I said, not all of the India players get a chance to go out and play in the leagues. So for to be there in the same team as Meg Lanning or Jess Jonathan, and to be learning from them is immense. And I think it's just not about the skill set, it's also about the mindset, about what they do when they are in tough situations. For me, it was largely about that. I had really good conversations with Meg, with JJ as well, about how they go about uh, trying to balance pressure off the field, on the field. And I've had really very good, well-rounded personalities, even Kapi for that matter. The kind of bond I had with her as an opening bowling partner was amazing. It At times we were taking wickets and not celebrating and telling the other person what's happening on the wicket and what's helping me take those wickets. So the camaraderie that I had with her was amazing, and for me to be learning all of that in during the WPL was a huge takeaway. And not just me, I mean, someone like Minnu Mani, who's going to debut, uh, was be able to play alongside international cricketers. I'm so chuffed for all of them.
Squadron leader Shikha Pandey. Where is she planning to go in the Air Force?
Squadron leader Shikha Pandey is retired, sir. I actually retired from the Air Force last year. This was in
Okay.
June. I actually thought that balancing both was getting difficult. I was a short service commissioned officer, so it was 10 plus 4 years, but I left service after 10 years. And I thought if I had some cricket left in me, why not give it 100%? So it was a very difficult situation because, like I said, I have two kind of faces to me, and one was an Air Force officer, and one was an India cricketer. And at that time, last year in June, I had none. So it was a difficult decision, a leap of faith, I would say. But then I've been able to take a lot of other opportunities. I went down under to play club cricket because I thought after getting dropped, I had started falling out of love with the sport. I started doubting my abilities, and I thought getting out of the system, going somewhere else and playing cricket just for the fun of it was really necessary for me. And I just took that step ahead and went there and played cricket. And I can for sure say that right now I'm enjoying my cricket, and that's why I probably am getting the results that I want.
Come on, HR guys. The intelligence has only gotten better. You can again contact her if you want her in your roles. Come on, go for it. Okay, now Shikha Pandey, the cricketer, is she a tad disappointed? Is she angry or couldn't care less about the treatment meted out to her?
If I say that I'm not frustrated and angry, then I'm not a human being. Um, there've been these endless lazy Sunday afternoons that I've gone to the indoors when it's raining here in Goa, spending 2 hours bowling, just alone being there bowling. So it's difficult when you don't get the results for the work that you've put in. I'm sure there's some reason behind it, which I do not know really, But thinking about all of that, I think what's in my hand is the hard work. And I'm a stout believer in hard work. So it's just about working hard till the time I think I'm mentally and physically fit. I'll try to play cricket till then. Um, and like I said, I've had really good mentors with me who have kind of pushed me, because last year when I was dropped, I actually thought walking away from cricket was the right thing to do. And then I was suggested that it was a very emotional period and I needed to give myself a little time. And kudos to them for you also being one of them. I actually had a conversation with you as well, and you said you still thought that I had a lot of cricket left in me and I should play till the time I enjoy the sport. So I am enjoying the sport, and I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed right now as well. But like I said, the situations that I'm put in is out of my control. But the decisions that I take to get out of it is completely in my hands. So I'm going to do that.
I'm sure you'll have another crack at making a comeback.
Yes, that's the plan, sir.
You must, in fact, if you ask me. It's never too late. Now, a cricketer goes through all this. You had to juggle with your Air Force career, you had to juggle through all the challenges in cricket, and you also had to handle the societal pressures that come along with being a cricketer as well as an Air Force officer. Now, it's very critical to have a mental health expert helping you, isn't it?
Yes, I did work. I have worked with a lot of mental conditioning coaches. I should say that the most recent one being Mugda ma'am. She is working with BCCI, and I recently, as recent as the 10-day stint that I had at NCA, I actually spoke to her, and it was only over the phone till then, and this was the first time that I saw her in person. And I initially said I had nothing to speak to her because I thought my cricket was going well. I had a decent World Cup, I would say, and then the WPL also was decent in my opinion. So I said I have nothing to say, but then I actually ended up talking to her for 45 odd minutes, and the conversations were mostly about things that have helped me come back into cricket and how I should just continue doing all of that. All of these selections and everything, like I said, it's not in my hand, and when I don't know the reason for not being selected is another thing. So it's just about keeping faith, I would say, and being hopelessly hopeful. So it's just about that, and I still think there's some cricket left in me, and I would want to give back to the state that I play for. I've got some really good friends here. I play for GCA, and I would want to get back to the domestic circuit and help us win some more games.
Go for it. Go for it. 4 years ago, you were this close to getting an Arjuna award, but eventually it did not happen. Disappointed, disgusted, gutted. What is it?
So I was told that my name was being forwarded for Arjuna in August 2020, and the next series that we play in Lucknow, I'm not there in the team. And you were the first one to call me and tell me that I was not there in the team. And I mean, cricket can be a funny game, not just on field, off field as well. So I was disappointed because it's always good to get recognized for your efforts, and that too when you are playing for your country. So I take a lot of pride in playing for my country for so many years without just on my performances, and just being able to go out there and perform for my team in difficult situations is what I look forward to. So I'm really proud and happy that I've played so much cricket uh, on my abilities. So I'm really proud of that.
Any future plans laid out, or is it too early? Or would you announce it at the right time, whatever it is that you're planning to do?
So the last year when I was not playing cricket, I mean I was dropped, and I just to take my mind off cricket when I retired from Air Force as well. Belinda, she's someone that I've been speaking to. So she suggested that I take my mind off, do some online courses. I started studying again, and I love maths. So my love for maths is back, and whenever I find time, even now, it's been a very hectic last season from going to Australia in August. I literally did not take a week's break. So I took a break this time over in April, and I'm back to studying. So it's something that I'm looking forward to probably study for a degree or something. But still, I have so many paths that I can follow. I'm still thinking about which one to.
Oh, that's easy for you. Studying is easy for you. Tell us about something exciting that you're planning to do, or something challenging even.
No, I mean I don't have
Okay.
anything. To be very honest, getting back to the India team will be very challenging. So that's on the cards. But yes, like I said, just being hopeful about playing cricket because the sport is physical. I think that's the most difficult thing to do. Studying is rather easier, I would say.
Thank you, Shikha. I'm sure you will definitely end up making a comeback, and I hope to see you do well again in blue and in whites as well these days because you're getting to play Test cricket as well. And thanks for taking your time and responding to my request. And I wish you all the very best in the future.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank
That was Shikha Pandey, always studious, always intelligent, and always measured in what she says. And I'm sure you would have enjoyed the chat very much. For those who are joining us for the first time, subscribe to the channel, press the like button, and also pass on the word to all your friends who are keen on cricket about this particular channel. And you can also log on to the Sports Star handle to watch all the earlier episodes where some fantastic stuff is being put up on this handle. And for those who've been with us right from the start, continue to do so and keep your comments coming because that's very, very important for us. And we value your feedback and comments so that we can always look at dishing out better stuff for you people and also in a much better fashion than we are doing at the moment. As I always say, until I catch up with you next time, be good and stay safe.